we wanted to do a quick thing for you here to wrap things up. I was curious what people thought was the best baseball city in America. So I thought, you know what? Brig and I, let's put together some lists, share our thoughts on it. And baseball family, we want you to let us know what you think are the best baseball cities in America, whether you've been there or not. We want to share opinions with you. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do three, and as always, we do have runners up.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Okay. As per usual. So, Brig, why don't you get us started here with your runner up?
Well, before I do, Brad, I think I better lay some context out.
Okay.
So, the way I asked Brad before this, I said, should we come up with standardized criteria or some sort of uniformity for our evaluation? He said, no. He said, I want to keep it totally pure, right? So, you evaluate the city how you want to. I'll evaluate it how I want to. Use whatever metrics or whatever you want. I said, ooh, cool. So I did whatever I want, which is the best answer ever. Do whatever you want. Say, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, and most of my criteria will start to come to light very quickly. But I did want to say that I did a little bit of background research. I went and figured out what the average ticket prices were in 2019 per seat across the league. The highest was $167 average seat. That's league-wide.
Oh, wow.
Now that's not a premium seat. So if there's any additional amenities at all, then it doesn't count, right? That's just a regular old seat, like you can get anywhere. No padding. You're not behind home plate in a lazy boy. Nobody will bring you anything for free. Nothing like that. These are regular old seats. So $167 per seat was the top end. The bottom end was $52 per seat. Okay.
Okay.
And that was at Statista. I also went to Wallet Hub. And they have a metric-driven, I guess, list of the best baseball cities in America. And they have 31 key metrics that they use to determine what would be the best baseball city in America. And I know I'm nerding out a little bit right here, but some of the things that they evaluated and gave weight to were the number of teams in the city, performance level of the teams, how many championships, but then all the way down to fan engagement, average ticket price, number of coaches in the past 10 seasons. So coaching turnover was a factor that they used. Stadium capacity, and then average attendances. Those things, I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. 31 metrics to go into their score on, and it was out of 361 cities in America, and they took major league, minor league, and college. Okay? So those are a couple of the things that I used, and I did that research after I'd already made my decisions. So I said, these are what I think are the best baseball cities in America. Let me go see what the rest of the world thinks, and I have their data to insert into my decision making.
Well, now I feel bad because I did not go nearly that deep, and
that's okay. I have the data right here. We just pull it up and add it.
All right. Okay.
Pretty cool. So my runner-up.
Go ahead. Yep.
My runner-up is New York City.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasons New York City could arguably be the greatest baseball city in America. I mean, there are two teams there. Mm-hmm. So if you can support two historical franchises like that, I mean, that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Two new stadiums in the last couple of decades. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So there's clearly money. There's clearly support, right? The fans are coming out. Public transportation to either ball field. That's a big deal to me, right? The ability to get to and from. You don't have to worry about parking or paying or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, we can talk about the fans are loyal to a fault sometimes. And but I would the reason the reason New York is my runner-up is because sometimes, and I say this with all of the humility I can, Yankees fans are not accommodating so, so for people visiting New York, so it goes. So the story goes. I've never been, so I don't know. And this is me being the Yankees fan that's never been to the Bronx. But but yeah, everything I know about Yankees fans, being one of them, is that we get pretty rough sometimes, and we have some pretty intense opinions, and it ought to be your opinion too. So I just think that it's less inviting sometimes, and that's why they're my runner-up.
Okay. And I'll be honest, I did not. New York is not on my list.
Interesting.
Part of it is because, and actually, like, this is like the big reason, is because you hear things about how New York fans don't get to the game until like the fourth or fifth inning, and everybody's sitting there on their phones the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a big thing for me. Is like I know that the Yankees are the Yankees, the Mets are the Mets. You've got a long history there, but to me, New York is a basketball town.
Yeah. Interesting.
The Knicks suck and have for a long time, and they still draw at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, you're right.
So I view New York as more of a basketball town as a baseball town. That's just me. So
I like it. All
right.
Who's your runner-up, Brad?
Okay, my runner-up is actually Boston.
Okay.
And a big thing for me is fan loyalty.
Yeah, me too.
How long has your team gone without winning anything or winning a World Series, and you still sell that place out?
Yeah.
You look at Fenway, and that place, I mean, part of it is because it's a baseball landmark.
Of course. Yes.
The history there, like any baseball fan who goes to Boston typically is going to make it a point to go to a game, if it's available.
If you can. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a big part of it also is, the experience of Fenway, but also like those fans have been rabid. They went, golly, what was it? It was like 90 years, something like that.
86? I think it was 86
86,
years.
that's right. Yeah, 86 years between World Series titles, and the fans they rode it out for, literally generations rode it out to get that title. And it was a big deal, and fortunately for them, the Red Sox have repaid and won multiple titles since then.
Yep.
But that fan base is so strong and so loyal that I consider Boston a really, really strong baseball town. But at the same time, you've got the Patriots, you've got the Celtics competing. So they're not the number one show in town.
Got it.
Despite everything, and that's why they're my runner-up.
Cool. Okay. All right.
Okay.
It's a good argument. My number 3 is Chicago.
Oh, that's my number 3.
Yes! All right. Well, let's just geek out then. So, obviously, Wrigley is a landmark, right? Just like you said with Fenway. There's no arguing with it. If you're even close to have the opportunity to go, you go. Plus, the Ivy. Let's just give the Ivy a nod. Plus, it's the setting of my favorite baseball movie ever. So, it plays host to Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, for those who don't know.
That's right. Fans just don't know when to quit. I think it's a big deal. I mean, you're talking loyalty, and you're talking like generational problems with but they still pack it out. They're still there, and they're still diehard fans, and that's beyond that's beyond loyalty. It's something totally new.
It is, and that was like one of my big things is even with day games for so many years and so recently, people were still going to games every day.
Every day.
And the day game at Wrigley was featured on one of my favorite movies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
For sure.
He skips school and goes to a game because who wouldn't at that point?
No doubt.
But yeah, no, the long-suffering fans for sure got it for me. And I actually specifically went north side on this.
Oh.
Specifically Cubs fans make like that part of the city like really big. You've got Wrigleyville.
Yeah.
For sure. It's where else do you have people listening to the game out in the street but not watching it, just waiting for a home run ball?
Yeah.
Or what other cities have they accommodated and not raised the outfield grandstand to increase ticket revenue, but instead let the people who live across the street watch the game from on top of their apartment complex?
Right. Well, and it's literally in a neighborhood. Yeah. Like it's so Americana, it's nuts. right? Like everything about it is
Yeah.
family friendly. It's called the Friendly Confines for a reason. Super duh. It's a huge baseball town. Then you throw in the fact that there is a second Major League Baseball team in the same city. So it's
Yep.
a huge deal. Anyway, the point is it's fabulous. And while there are fewer White Sox fans than Cubs fans, those people are diehard, man. Like it's
Yeah.
like Raiders fans, right? Where they're like, I'm gonna paint my face and I'm gonna put on my spiky shoulder pads and we're freaking going. Okay? So I don't care what you wanted to do today, we're going to the White Sox game. Get in the car. Or get on the train.
It's
You know?
true. White Sox White Sox fans are the Raider fans
They
of,
are.
of Major League Baseball, aren't
Yeah,
they?
that's exactly right. So, okay,
Totally.
couple of my nerd alerts here. The average ticket price for a seat in Wrigley is $93, and they don't call it Comiskey anymore, whatever it is, the new one. $81 per seat. And then the Wallet Hub 31-point evaluation, it came in, Chicago comes in at number 5 of 361 available cities for baseball. Number 5.
All right. Very nice.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I looked at was attendance. I wanted to look like farther back,
Yeah.
but I just didn't take the time.
It's fair.
But the Cubs, I feel like, in 2018 they were number 5 in attendance. That's attendance per game. And then in 2019 they were number 4
Wow.
in attendance per game. And I feel like that's pretty consistent with them.
Yeah. Probably.
Like I said, they draw. The Cubs draw. They always have drawn. They always will draw, because, like I said, rabid fan base and a national draw. There are way more Cubs fans nationally because of WGN, most likely,
For sure.
than a lot of other teams.
Right.
So
Same with the Braves and TBS, right? There are tons of Braves
Yep.
fans, tons of Chipper Jones fans for the same reason. Yep.
exactly right.
All right.
Yep.
Should we just go to my number 2, or do you want to go to your number 2?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead with your number.
Okay,
2.
so my number 2 is Boston, actually. Again,
Okay.
Fenway is a landmark. The fans are hardcore. I mean, as hardcore as they come, but the brand itself is transcendent, and the brand tells you a lot about the city and its culture and its people. And if you see a Red Sox hat, that scripted B anywhere in the world, it's going to tell you a lot about that person. And so I think there's a lot to be said there, and the team stands up that culture. The team drives it. There's something really, I know I'm a Yankees fan, but there's something really special about the blue-collar, bad boy, bearded baseball that they built in that late 90s, early 2000s, David Ortiz smashing the call box. That Johnny Damon out in the outfield with his beard, and Dustin Pedroia having almost no business being in the major leagues. You know what I mean? Like, all of it was...
Well, and Manny Ramirez is with his
Oh,
dreads.
Manny being Manny. Like, it. Let's just be honest. It's a magical thing that they have down there. The culture is a big deal. I don't know. I think it's awesome. It's average ticket price for one seat at Fenway is $167. It's the top end of all top ends, and it beats out the number 2 by quite a bit. And then it's Wallet Hub listed it as number 4 out of 361. So, for those reasons, I think it's the number 2 baseball city in America.
Very nice. And I can't fault you for that because, like I said, they were my runner-up. I totally
sure.
get it.
Well, and I can't argue
right.
with your basketball stuff too. I mean, but the Patriots. What I did want to say is that the baseball scene has not diminished despite the Patriots' success. Like, even with it, it's still as robust. And before the Patriots were successful at all, and we were laughing at them, the
Oh yeah, no,
the Red Sox fan base was still as hot and heavy. So I don't think the Patriots have taken away from the Red Sox thing at all.
Right, and I say Patriots because that's pretty recent, but I feel like the Celtics thing is very real.
Yeah, but they didn't split their loyalty. They just were loyal to both as aggressively.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my
yeah, that's
argument.
true. Hmm. Yeah,
Okay, what's your number
I get
two?
it. That's cool. My number two is L.A.
L.A.
L.A. The best tacos in L.A.
Okay.
Um, and specifically Los Angeles. I mean, I could include Anaheim in this because technically the Angels are the LA Angels.
No.
And that's a team who has not been good and continues to draw despite not
True.
being good.
Yeah.
But really, the Dodgers, like, it's a Dodgers town, man. It really
Yeah.
is. And the Dodgers are like, what, the last few years, which granted they've been very good. Obviously, they won the World Series last year. They've contended for the last four.
Yeah.
Like they're like top in the big leagues or they are. 2018 or 2019 they were number one in attendance per game, and 2018 too. And like I said, they're very good. So that makes it's a super duh. People are going to go when you've got a really good team that's going to contend. But I feel like people go anyway.
For sure.
Because Dodger Stadium, another landmark, they're almost like the Yankees of the West Coast.
Yeah, exactly.
You see tons of LA hats, specifically, the L and the A. You don't see a lot of Angels hats. You don't see as many San Francisco or Oakland hats. You definitely don't see very many Mariners hats just because they're terrible for so long. But you see the LA hat. Just if you're not in a baseball city, you're gonna see either a Yankee hat, a Boston hat,
A Dodgers
or
hat.
an
Yeah,
LA hat,
you're absolutely
typically.
right. Yeah.
And
probably in that order, honestly.
Yeah, probably in that order. But Chavez Ravine, as much of a nightmare as it is to get it out of there, I've only heard stories. I've heard the legend of getting out of Chavez Ravine. People still go. Celebrities go. Celebrities aren't making the trip down to Anaheim to watch the Angels play so much. They're going to watch the Dodgers. It's a place to be and be seen.
Yeah.
So that's my
Very
number two.
cool.
The Dodgers.
The average ticket price for LA is $108, coming in at number 3. And then Wallet Hub puts them at number 2, ranked number 2.
Oh, nice.
Just like you, Brad.
Cool. All right.
All right, my number 1.
Doing something right.
What?
Doing something right.
That's right. My number 1.
Okay,
yes.
can I just say real quick? I bet your number 1 is
I'll
the
bet
same.
we have the same. I'll
gonna
bet
bet you
you're
on that.
absolutely right. I'll bet we have the same one. Should we say
go
it
ahead.
on 3? 3,
Yeah.
2,
Ready?
1. St. Louis.
St.
Yes!
Louis. Yep.
Why, Brad?
Well, there's a number of reasons. St. Louis, like we've talked about, just the consistency of the organization, and they've treated their fans well with consistency, and those fans are smart,
Yeah.
loyal, and smart. St. Louis is known as one of the smartest baseball cities in the country. The fans know what's going on in the field. They know what's going on with their team, know what's going on with their opponents, and that goes a long way for me with being the best baseball city. Like, the Rams were there. The reason they left was because, there was a lot of reasons, but the Cardinals are never going to leave.
No.
Ever.
No.
Like, it helps being the only show in town, but they've been able to be steadfast and stable because they draw. If they didn't draw, owners could easily pull them out and say, you know what, we're going to go somewhere else and go somewhere where we can get more fans. But a loyal fan base, a knowledgeable fan base, to me, makes them the top team.
I've also heard that they're among the kindest and most accommodating baseball fans in America. Like, people who I've talked to that visit St. Louis and go to Busch, they're like, no, man, they're so nice. Mm-hmm. They're just glad you're there. They're really, you they want you to know what you're talking about. Otherwise, you're not as hip as they are. But they're really, I hear, very kind, very accommodating. It's a family-oriented atmosphere, I hear. It's a big deal for me. But also, and in addition to it being the only show in town, except for the Blues. Yeah, the Blues are there.
Of course. Yeah.
But that's relatively new. Comparatively, The St. Louis Cardinals have been around for ever, and they have a rich history.
Yeah.
But the next thing for me, the stadium's gorgeous, but also it's walkable, right? You can go to the Arch. You can go to there's breweries all up and down. You can get to the Anheuser-Busch brewery, original brewery, is within walking distance as well. I mean, it's a really walkable metro area downtown, like the heart of downtown. And for me, that's a huge deal, right? Being able to get out and walk around and experience. That's why things like the Battery in the Braves built in Marietta is a big deal, or Wrigleyville, things like that, because you can stand up economic development and a rich culture and stuff like that, all in concert with baseball and not competing, which is something like the Battery kind of struggles with in the Atlanta Braves market, is because it is kind of off and away in Marietta. It's almost an hour away from like Atlanta's downtown proper, which is kind of weird, but apparently they draw tons of money. I talked to a guy who does tours down there at the new park, SunTrust or whatever they're calling it today, Truist, and I don't know, it changes all the time, but yeah, but in St. Louis you don't have that problem. I mean, the economic development of the city is built up and around and in concert with the ball field. It's right there in the middle of everything. So there's no like, hey, come to the ballpark. It's like, hey, while you're on your way, you might as well watch a ball game. You know, like, and then when you're done, come over because we're right here. I love that.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's one thing. You've done way more traveling than I have. You've seen way more of these ballparks. The only one I've ever actually been near is Dodger Stadium. I've never actually been to a game there. I've seen it from a distance. And actually, my brother-in-law showed me. He's like, yeah. So there's the stadium, and that street right there is the only way out. That's the only reason I know anything about that.
Yeah. No, Busch. I walked right up to the gate at Busch. I mean, they did. The day I was there, they didn't have a game going on or anything. But we walked from the Arch to the ball field, and then we walked to a restaurant, and then it was great. I mean, it was like this is like right here, and it's just beautiful, man. The way that it's built and everything. So in St. Louis, the average seat's about $100, $101, and Wallet Hub lists it as number 3 out of 361. Nice.